Hey there. This is Caitlin Miller, your teen librarian from Hewitt Public Library, and this is Tracy Villa, our programming coordinator.
Hi guys.
We are so excited to host more virtual performances for y'all, and this week we're very excited to announce Matt Sandbanks and the Shadow Puppet performance.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? Thank you, Caitlin and Tracy. It's great to see you guys, and I appreciate you inviting me to perform. If you've seen my show before, hi again. If you haven't, my name is Mr. Matt, and I am a shadow puppeteer. I like to tell all my tales using shadows, and so we'll be talking today about storytelling and about shadow puppets. Before we begin, if you could there's on the bottom of your screen, there's a bar called reactions. If you could give me a thumbs up just to make sure, you see one in my corner right there. Give me a thumbs up to make sure my voice is coming through. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, great. I think 3 is a quorum. And I'll ask you throughout the show to use your emojis a little bit to make this an interactive show. So good job using those. And also, you'll notice that along the bottom of your screen, there's a little word bubble, and the word under it says chat. If you guys have any questions about the show, anything you see me doing or hear me saying that you'd like to ask a question about, I'm here to answer questions as well as to perform for you all. And in between skits, I'll be talking to you kind of like I am right now. And so it'll be a great time for me to answer any questions that might come up. So please feel free to leave questions in the chat bar. I would love to answer any and all questions that you have. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the show underway. You know, I don't mind emceeing a show myself, but I really prefer to do this in shadow puppet form. I think I'm a little bit more engaging to my audiences when I am myself a shadow puppet. So if you guys watching at home would help me out here, point your hands at the screen like that, and then on the count of 3, we're going to do a little twinkle finger action there to turn me into a shadow puppet. All right, everyone ready? 1, 2, 3, and twinkle fingers. All right, good job. Look at this. Here I am in shadow puppet form. Now, like I said, I'm a little more engaging as a shadow puppet because there are things that I can do as a shadow puppet that I cannot do as a regular old person like this. Backflips give me a really hard time as a regular person. So do front flips. But as a shadow puppet, it's no problem whatsoever. I'm already decorated for our reading party here, so we're ready to go. Now, another great thing about being a shadow puppet is anything that I imagine, I can pop right there on the screen, easy as pie. So watch this. Let's see. You can invite anyone and everyone and anything and everything to a shadow puppet reading party like this. First thing to pop into my head is a hippopotamus. Now, by the lack of, reactions there, no, I don't see any hearts. I don't see any festive doohickeys. I don't see even any wows like that. I'm going to assume that maybe you guys aren't that impressed by that hippopotamus. Maybe you guys have hippopotamus parties in Hewitt all the time. If that's the case, good for you. I'm very proud of you. I don't mind a little challenge, though. If this hippopotamus fails to impress, with a shadow puppet skit, we can make this into a more impressive hippopotamus. Watch this. This is not any old hippopotamus. Oh no, this, my friends, is an auto-tune hippopotamus.
Auto-tune hippopotamus. Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed. In a shadow puppet party like this, anything and everything can show up on the screen. For instance, if we want to have a velociraptor on roller skates, then we can have a velociraptor on roller skates. If we want to eat strawberry ice cream while riding on top of a unicorn, then we will eat strawberry ice cream while riding on top of a unicorn. And if we want to invite a giant dancing rotisserie chicken, then we will invite a giant dancing rotisserie chicken. Ah! So be ready, my friends, for anything and everything, because at a shadow puppet party, you never know exactly what might end up on the screen there. Okay, so before we get too much into our storytelling part of the show, let's do something to bridge the digital divide. We like, in this strange year, we've been doing these shows where we're all trapped in our separate digital Zoom boxes here, but that doesn't mean we can't still participate in a puppet skit all together. So in this next one, I'm going to need your help at home, and I'll tell you how to do your part in just a moment. It starts like this. Well, this is my sweet grandmother, and she likes to rock all day. So my grandma started a rock band, and the people come to hear them play. And this is how my grandma likes to rock. She goes, eat, 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 eat. And that's what I need your help with. If you're playing along at home, every time it's time for grandma to rock, if you would also rock along with her. Some people prefer the front to back rocking. Some people prefer the side to side. Whichever type of rocking you prefer, that is the exact type of rocking that we need today. So let's try this all together. Let's rock with grandma. Ready, set, and rock. Eat, 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 eat. Very nicely done. Well, this is my grandma's singer, and Thrasher is his name. Thrasher joined my grandma's rock band, and the people come to hear them play. And Thrasher goes, "Whoa, yeah, yow!" And grandma goes, "Everyone help her out." Eat, 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 eat. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Well, this is my grandma's drummer, and Crasher is his name. Crasher joined my grandma's rock band, and the people come to hear them play. And Crasher goes, and Thrasher goes, "Whoa, yeah, yow!" And you guys all know what grandma does by now. What does grandma do? Eat, 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 eat. Thank you, Kayla. Well, this is my grandma's bass player, and Basher is his name. Basher joined my grandma's rock band, and the people come to hear them play. And Basher goes, a boom, 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 boom. And Crasher goes, and Thrasher goes, "Whoa, yeah, yow!" And you guys all, of course, know what grandma does by now. Over there at home, wherever you are, sitting down, help grandma rock, please. Grandma goes. Eat, 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 eat. Very nicely done. Everyone, give yourselves a round of applause. Good job rocking along at home, and a little bit of applause for grandma as well there. Okay, now that we're all kind of on the same page here, let's go ahead and start talking about some storytelling. Oh, one last thing before. Don't forget, the chat box is open for you. You can put any questions or comments you have in the chat box, and I'd love to respond as the show's going forward. Okay, so for storytelling, one of the first things that you want to do when you're telling a story is you want to create a vivid image, and shadow puppets are great for this. Now, when I am trying to think of what kind of puppet skit I want to perform or what kind of story I want to tell, sometimes it's difficult for me to come up with this image. But what I can do is I can look through my notes. I keep a notebook with, sometimes there's sketches or drawings, sometimes there's written down images, and I pretend that I'm on a game show like this. Here's my game show music. I pretend I'm on a game show, and I pretend I'm spinning one of these big game show wheels, only instead of prizes, what you have are ideas, image ideas on this. Let me show you what I mean, okay? And again, if you're playing at home, if you want to raise your hand up like this and help me spin this wheel, I'm going to count to 3, and then we're going to spin this wheel, and you'll see what I mean, okay? Ready, set, and spin. What kind of image are we going to have? A baby. Okay. Okay, not a bad start. But let's make this baby more vivid. Let's make our baby stand out a little bit more. If you guys would spin this wheel with me one more time, please, and we'll make this baby a more vivid image. Ready, set, and spin. Now, we've got a baby. What kind of idea can we attach to that baby to make this a more interesting, vivid image? Oh, a baby with a jetpack. Let's see where this leads us. Now, let me say, young people, I don't have any idea where that puppet skit is headed, but I do know it's headed there fast because it's starting with a nice, vivid image. This is what my shadow puppets look like. And towards the end of the show, I'll show you guys how to make a shadow puppet of your own so you can keep the shadow play going on at home. It won't be as complicated as this, but it'll be the same basic idea. My shadow puppets are these thin pieces of plastic cut out into different pieces and joined together, and then moved with these rods. These are metal coat hangers and wooden dowel rods. And so I use these rods to hold this up to the screen. And by moving my hands, I can make this puppet move any which way. And if I need to do something fancy like raising a button or having flames shoot out the back of a jetpack, I can add this mechanism. That's just a fishing line. And when I pull it, it pulls that arm up. And when I let it go, this blue rubber band here pulls it back. And it also pulls those flames out the back of the jetpack so it can go flying off like that. Like I said, most of my puppets are not that complicated, but they are all basically that same idea, and I'll tell you more about that as we go on, so you can tell some stories with shadows at home if you want. We have a question also from 6-year-old River, wants to know if I have a favorite shadow puppet and what it is. I don't have a favorite puppet all the time, but I do have certain puppets that are among my favorites, like the A Squad, if you will. And it's actually coming up in a couple of skits. I'll perform a few more skits for you, and then River, I'll show you what my favorite puppet is, and I'll talk to you about it at that. So stay tuned. We'll get to your question in just a moment. And thank you so much for putting that in the comment box. Let's do this game show idea one more time and create another vivid image altogether, okay? So hands up, please, hands at the ready, and we're gonna spin the game show wheel again. Ready, set, and spin. Now, what sort of image are we gonna start with? We have, ooh, A zombie. All right. Zombies are very in these days. So now we have to come up with a way to make our zombie more vivid, make it set it apart from all those other zombies out there these days, and make our zombie something distinctive and only ours. So let's spin this wheel again. Ready, set, and spin. What kind of zombie are we going to have today? Oh, okay. Okay. A zombie trying out for the cheerleading squad. You know, whatever this wheel says to do, I just do it, and I try not to ask too many questions. Okay, so let's see where this cheerleading zombie leads us. All right, Mr. Zombie, come on out. It's time for your audition. Welcome to the cheerleading squad. Come on out. Okay, so we're here with the kids at Hewitt Public Library, and we are having a summer reading party, and so we're trying to get everyone excited about reading. So let's start with a little reading cheer, okay? Give me an R. R. Okay. Okay. Now give me an E. E. Okay. All right, that's good. But remember, it's a reading party. So we're trying to get everyone excited about reading. It's a cheerleading squad. So just see if you can give it a little more pep, a little more zip, a little more energy. Okay. R-E, give me an A. Okay. Okay, that was a little better, I guess. Let's see if we can finish really strong, though, with as much energy and cheerleaderly spirit as you can give me. Give me a D. Give me a D. A D. Whenever you're ready. D. Okay, I guess that's as good as we're gonna get. R-E-A-D spells brains. No, no, it spells read. R-E-A-D spells read. Brains. I I know the kids at Hewitt have, a lot of brains. I know that they read a lot and they've got these big brains, but we're just trying to, spell read and get them excited about reading. R-E-A-D. Give me a brains. Okay. All right. Apparently that's not going to work. Maybe okay, maybe instead of cheering, you can maybe stand in the back and do a flip or a cartwheel or something. How are you at gymnastics? Oh my dear. Brains, brains, brains. Young people, if you don't learn anything else about storytelling or puppetry today, always remember, if a zombie shows up at your cheerleading practice, please be careful. You can even just run away if that happens. Here's the zombie puppet. It's not actually very difficult to, the most difficult thing, it's not difficult to get the head to pop off. What's difficult is having the head not pop off too early in that skit. That happens every now and then, and it makes that skit really awkward, and it kind of ends all of a sudden. So that's how that one works. Okay, so you get the idea. A lot of times, a puppet show or any kind of story begins with a vivid image. You can start with a plain old image and then do something to make that image a little more interesting or distinctive. That's a great way to start with a story. Now, this next one I'm going to do started that exact same way. I came up with a character that that was kind of ordinary, normal, and then I did what I could to make it more distinctive and vivid. But instead of telling you what the image was and how it's distinctive and vivid, I'm going to do this skit and let it be a bit of a surprise. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. And then River in this skit is one of my favorite puppets. Maybe not my favorite, but absolutely one of my favorites. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. Goes a little something like this. Oh, and it is entitled The Bear. I don't know if you can see that title, The Bear. Fashion. Strike a pose. Fashion. Strike a pose. Fashion. Work it, girl. Strike a pose. Fashion.
With confidence
Strike a pose.
and purpose,
Fashion.
show us that you got game.
Strike a pose. So that skit began with a kind of basic image, which is a bear. You know, bears are pretty common images, and this one lumbers across the screen like that. And then what I did to make it more vivid was turn it into a fashionista runway bear. Now you'll notice it's the same character, but there's two different puppets for it. A lot of times that's a trick I use is I have a single character, but lots of different versions of that character to get it to do all the different things that it needs to do. And there's actually a third one of that bear too, when the bear goes from being hungry to a little bit hangry. This is one of those mechanisms I was telling you about earlier in the show. And so to answer your question, River, thank you for waiting so patiently for me to get around to it. One of my favorite puppets is this fashionista bear. I think the reason why I like this one is there's a few reasons. I tend to like all of my dancing puppets because I love dancing, but I'm not great at it. And I can make puppets that are a lot better at dancing than I am. So I always like when I can live out that that dream of mine of being a really good dancer. So you'll see probably a lot of dancing puppets in the show. You already saw the dancing rotisserie chicken. Now you saw a dancing bear. I also like this bear just because I like the story of the character of her kind of discovering what her real passion is, which is, you know, runway modeling, I suppose. So this is one of my favorite puppets. I also like a puppet that surprises me with lots of different movements. And I made this one. And then as soon as I started making it, I started learning all the different poses that she could do. And so it had a lot of surprise in there for me. So that's one of my favorite puppets, River, and some of the reasons why. Anyone else, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm here to answer all of your puppetry questions today, specifically shadow puppetry. I may not be able to help you too much with hand puppetry or marionettes, but I sure will try if you have questions about those styles as well. Okay, so we've talked a lot about imagery and creating a vivid image. Next, we're going to talk about, gave you a little sneak peek at that next skit. Next, we're going to talk about conflict. A lot of times a story begins with trouble or conflict. And so this next skit, and I don't know why that is. I don't know why it is that in life we want everything to be peaceful, but in stories we want everything to go wrong for some reason, but it's kind of the way it is. In this next skit, so I have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, and before the pandemic, we went to a lot of birthday parties, and it being Texas, I'm from Austin, we went to a lot of piñata parties, and it got me thinking, what could possibly go wrong at this piñata party? And the answer I came up with was this. Always be careful, young people, if you have a zombie show up at your cheerleading practice. Also, always be careful at those piñata parties. You never know when that piñata has just had one too many hits of the broomstick. So always be careful. So let's keep talking about conflict a little bit. Like I was saying, it's a problem. It's what kind of fuels stories. Stories kind of thrive on their characters getting into trouble and then eventually getting back out a lot of times. Um, and so in this next skit, I need you guys to be the source of conflict. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be. Not all conflict is person versus person, or in the case of that last skit, person versus pinata. Sometimes they are person versus Mother Nature. So you guys are going to be Mother Nature. You're going to be the force of nature, the elemental force in this next puppet skit. I'll get things started, and then I'll tell you how to do your part. We're going to start with things nice and gentle and peaceful. We have this nice peaceful music, and let's set the scene. It's a nice summer morning. We'll pretend it's not all that hot outside. I'm gonna sit under this nice little apple tree and just rest and collect my thoughts. And you know what? I could really use your help. Let's make this, set the scene and make it a little nicer. Let's blow a gentle breeze. There's a reaction, there's an emoji you have, and it looks like this. It's kind of like a surprise face, but it can be used as kind of like, I like to think of it as like blowing a breeze kind of face, like. So if you would, good job, Hewitt Public Lab. Okay, good, Haley and Kayla, keep those breeze blowing emojis going. Ah, good, we can hear it now. Okay, so we've set the scene. It's a nice summer morning, a beautiful gentle breeze. I can feel the wind in my hair. I can listen to it, you know, sifting through the leaves of the tree, and it's so beautiful and so lovely, and I love it so much. And ow, that didn't feel super great. So now what we have is rising tension. Your wind, the wind you created, started a problem. Now, because it's a story, let's make the problem a little bit worse. If you're sitting at home, you can do this to make the breeze a little stronger. Blow that wind blowing emoji one more time. If you happen to be really good at emojis and you can find like a wind blowing emoji, go ahead and feel free to do that as well. So let's get a few of those wind blowing emojis up on the screen. Let's get that wind going a little stronger than it was last time. Thank you very much, Haley. Oh, very good. Let's see what's happening on the puppet screen. Wind is actually pretty strong. Blew that apple right out of my hands. Oh, it's getting pretty rough out here today. Oh my goodness, I better hold on to this tree for good measure. Oh man, that tree is even blowing a little bit. That's rough. Okay. Now, we've been holding back. Let's hold back no further, no longer. Everyone, maybe take two hands, blow a really strong breeze, or, do a lot of these emojis. Good job, Kayla. All right, let's blow a really, really strong breeze here. Thank you very much, Miss Tracy. All right, let's see how the puppet's doing. Oh my goodness. It's a hurricane out here. Holy moly. I don't know how much more of this he can take. But for some reason, he's not letting go of this tree. We're gonna have to trick him. Keep going with your hands and with the emojis. Keep that wind blowing for just a second. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna trick this puppet. On 3, we're gonna all stop blowing this breeze all at the same time. So on 3, everybody stop. Okay? Ready, set, 1, 2, 3. Everybody stop right now. Very nicely done. Well done, everybody. The puppet wasn't hurt because it's made of plastic. This is the great thing about storytelling, in my opinion, is that when you're telling a story, no one actually gets hurt. In a shadow puppet show, they're made out of plastic. In a story that you write, they're all made out of words and ideas. So no one actually really gets hurt. And it's a great thing about storytelling. You can lead your characters into these wild adventures without anyone worse off for it. Now, before I forget, let me go ahead and teach you guys how to make a shadow puppet of your own. So if you choose to keep the shadow puppet storytelling going at home, you can do that. Now, one of the great things about shadow puppetry is that it's very inexpensive and easy to do. You probably have a lot of the materials already at home. Let me show you here. And I think the show is being recorded, so no need to try to rush and get these materials and follow along. Just watch and learn, and I think you'll be able to watch this recording again in the following weeks if you need a refresher about how to do this, okay? So we're gonna make a worm. This is a great puppet to start with. It's very easy to design and it's really fun to manipulate. Let me show you. So I like to start with a cereal box. Cereal box, if you have other cardstock or cardboard at home, that can work, but cereal box you probably already have and it works really, really well. So I start by breaking it down and cutting off all the flaps just to have a nice even surface. Now for this puppet, I'm going to fold the cardboard into 4 pieces. I'm going to fold it in half once lengthwise and once widthwise, and it will leave these 4 boxes. And you can number them 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you don't have to do that at home. This is just going to help you follow along a little bit. In boxes 2 and 3, we're going to draw just a basic plain old circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Shadow puppetry is a very forgiving art form. And you're going to put 2 dots on either end. That's just going to be where you join the pieces of the puppet later on, you'll see. Box 4 is for the tail end of the worm. You make a half circle that matches the one right above it. And then the other half, you just kind of taper off into this little rounded point, the tail of the worm. Because it's the end of the puppet, it only needs 1 dot for where to join. For box 1, that's where you make the head of the worm. Now, I like to draw my puppets in profile. That means from the side. So what you're going to see me do is draw a circle, but with a pie piece missing. And if you turn the pie piece up, you have a smile like the one that you see here. If you curve it down, you'd have a frown. So you can make any kind of emotion you want on this worm. I'm adding an antenna for good measure and a couple of eyeballs. The antenna fell off later, you'll see. And because it's the head of the worm, it only needs 1 dot because it only joins in one place. Once you have your puppet designed, you cut everything out. You can see me cutting out on the solid line. This is a sped up video. Don't try to do this so fast at home. I don't cut this fast in real life. And then I use a single hole punch to punch out every place I've put a dot. Every place you see a dot, go ahead and put a hole. And then I join the pieces together with these metal doohickeys, otherwise known as brads, otherwise known as paper fasteners. What you do is you take the holes you punched out, line them up so one is on top of the next, and then slide that brad through both of them and fold the ends down. And that holds the pieces together. Then you just go down the line, doing this with every piece of the puppet until you have these 4 pieces that are held together kind of loosely, but they're not going to fall apart, and you can move it really smoothly. Oh, don't forget to punch out the eyes either. Now we're almost done making the puppet, but we're not quite there. What we need to do to finish the puppet is to add rods so the audience can't see exactly how our hands are moving the puppet. And bendy straws work really, really well for this. So I'm going to take some bendy straws and a little bit of black duct tape. It doesn't have to be duct tape. You could have any kind of tape, packing tape, scotch tape, any tape will work. But all you need to do is make sure that if the puppet is flat on the table, that the straw is sticking straight up in the air. That's going to give you the best ability to manipulate or control this puppet. And there, it's as simple as that. You have your first shadow puppet. And here's my version of the worm. It's the exact same design as the one you just saw, only I am using plastic and my metal and wooden dowel rods to control it, just because I need to perform with it most days. And so it holds together a little bit longer. But if you're doing a shadow puppet show for your friends and family, the bendy straws and the cereal box will actually work exactly the same way, and the movements won't be any different. So you got your puppet. Now you've got to make your shadow screen. You could use a blank wall with a flashlight. That could work fine. If you want to do something a little fancier, you could take a bed sheet, put it over your table, and a few heavy books on top and on bottom to hold that screen nice and tight, and then put a flashlight or desk lamp behind it. And that's an easy, slightly fancier shadow puppet screen. If you want to get really fancy and you have a big cardboard box at home, you could cut out a square like a TV screen and then put some kind of translucent material behind it. Window shades work well, coffee filters work, thin paper can work. ask your adults before you take anything for your shadow puppet screen. You don't want your shadow puppet career to be cut short by, theft of your adult stuff at the house. So you got your puppet, you got your shadow screen, and now comes the really fun part of getting to manipulate your puppet and see what it is capable of doing. Let me show you here. We've got our worm, and like I said a little bit earlier in the show, what you're always looking for is ways to surprise your audience. Now, this worm has the surprising ability to kind of inch along and squeeze in and out like an accordion, but that's not quite enough to make a super interesting shadow puppet show. What I did discover, however, is that this puppet has a very cool, surprising ability to dance. So that is how you make a shadow puppet and begin to move it around on that screen. Your worm should be able to do all of those dance moves with a little bit of practice. The disco light might be a little more difficult. That's a green screen lighting effect that I figured out I could do on these Zoom shows. The Zoom show is, I miss live performance, but I do like being able to do the occasional green screen effect. But anyway, I hope you have a fun time making some shadow puppets of your own at home. We have a few more minutes before we've got to go. So I have time to do another skit for you guys. Last reminder, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat box now so that I have time to answer them. If you don't have a question, not a big deal. Let me do one last skit, and then maybe I'll be able to give you a backstage tour here. This is my way of saying happy trails to you guys.
I'm a hat. Singing hat. Hat.
Finished. All done. Thank you very much, Miss Tracy. Now, River, this is another one of my favorite puppets. It doesn't do much dancing, but it does sing, and that's another thing I'm not very good at. So I think the answer to your question that I've discovered in answering this question is that um, my favorite puppets are the ones that can do things really well that I can't do. So this puppet can sing, and it's a pretty complicated puppet. Not all puppets need to be this complicated, but this one does. In order to do all the things that it does, I have this finger that moves the hat, so the hat can sing, and then this one is for the cowgirl's lips so that she can sing, and then this one is for the horse's mouth so that the horse can sing. And let me show you what that looks like backstage. Let me see if I can get my backstage camera up and running. Is that working? Oh, yes, it is. Okay, great. So hi, everyone. Let's take you backstage and see what's going on here. This is what the puppet looks like from backstage. And I'm sorry for if you get motion sick from me moving this around. Let me see if this works any better. Does it flip? There we go. Okay. So one of the cool things about shadow puppetry is that if you make the rods long enough, you can actually have them stand on this platform. You can see I'm not even holding this puppet up, but it still makes a nice crisp shadow. And so you're able to have lots of characters, or at least characters with lots of rods on the screen at one time, and you can just move your hands back and forth from one puppet to the next. I only have one hand available now because the other one is holding onto the camera, but usually I'd have two hands that can go back and forth from rod to rod. And then here is where I go back and forth from screen to screen. This is going to go to the front of the screen like that. And then this, oh, wrong button, sorry. And then this one is what goes to the backstage. Let's see what else. Oh, here are my sound effects. If I want to make grandma rock, for instance, I can go like this, scroll down, granny guitar solo. Oh, sorry. Didn't realize it was turned up so loud. So the sound effects are done through that. Here is you guys and me, kind of, that's where I'm seeing what's going on the screen. And then, oh, here is the light. It's just a regular clamp light. And then I have a button down here that can dim it. So that's what the stage looks like from behind. Oh, and here's the green light bulb for those green screen effects. And River, yours is the favorite. Your favorite is the old lady with the rocking chair. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can show you that one. Hold on one second. My cord gets me a little bit held back sometimes. Let me take that off. I'll be right back. Hold on. The granny looks like this from backstage. And the cool thing about her is that her guitar is there the whole time, but it's blocked because her rocking chair is made out of a material that is opaque. That means it blocks out the light. And that's one of the cool things about shadow puppetry is you can surprise your audience with these one part of the puppet hidden behind the others. So that is behind there the whole time. And then at the last minute, I pop that guitar up, and that's how that surprise happens. I'm glad that was your favorite one, River. Natalie wants to know who invented the shadow puppet. We don't actually know, because shadow puppetry is one of the oldest forms of puppetry. And our first evidence of shadow puppetry comes from more than 2,000 years ago. And it's a really, really old form of puppetry. Some of the first shadow puppets were made in China and in Indonesia. And we don't really know whether it was invented one place or the other and then traveled, or if it came about independently in both of those places. But we know that from China and Indonesia, it traveled west to Turkey and Greece, and then to Europe, and then to the United States. So it is a very old form of puppet, but I can't tell you who made it up. So I wish that I could. I'm sure the person who invented it would really like to be able to have their name shared, but I'm not sure what it is. Are there any other questions out there? Thank you guys so much for the questions so far. And thank you for sharing part of your morning with me. I really appreciate it. And Hewitt Public Library, thank you for inviting me to perform digitally for you guys. Doesn't look like there's any other questions. Do you guys have any closing words, Miss Tracy, Miss Caitlin?
Yes, thank you so much for your performance. We thought that was really entertaining. We were back here giggling the entire time.
Oh, good.
We just really we like the surprises in your performance and learned a lot about shadow puppetry, and we thought that was really cool. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you. Just want to let everybody else know next Monday, our Magic Summer Kits will be available for pickup for those who have registered. If you have, you should be getting an email this Friday with instructions for pickup. Next Tuesday, we are going to have Cat in the Hat in the library from 10 to 12 so people can come and take pictures with him. And the next Wednesday, we are having a virtual magic show. Gus Davis is going to be our performer. We are very excited for that. And there's still plenty of time for summer reading. So make sure you're signed up and you're logging and reading away. All right, everybody have a great rest of your week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.